It is back. Fiddler on the Roof in Yiddish, now playing off-Broadway at the New World stages here in Midtown. The show, which first started back in 2018 and played to sold-out crowds for a year and a half, has returned, but for a limited time. It is a New York Times critics pick, and audiences are loving it too. Joining us this morning are two stars of the show, Lynne Mason and Drew Seigla. Good morning. First, tell us, good to have you here. First, tell us about the characters you both play.
Hi, my name is Lynne Mason, and I play Huddle.
Hi, my name is Drew Seigla, and I play Perchik.
I'm Tavia's second eldest daughter.
And I am Perchik. I'm a student coming from Kyiv, and I stumbled upon anti-Semitism and kind of changed their world around my ideas.
And thank you so much for having us. We're happy to be here.
We're so happy to have So the play's in Yiddish, but there are subtitles, oy vey, for people to follow along. So, Steph, tell us about, for people who don't know the story of Fiddler on the Roof, tell us what the theme of this play is.
So this story, yes, it is a Jewish story, but it's also a very universal story. It takes place in the fictional village of Anatevka, based off of the Sholem Aleichem novels. And it's about, a family dealing with changing times. And it's also about and these daughters finding love and, challenging the traditions of their family. But unfortunately, it's also very relevant in the fact that it's about this community being forced to leave their homes in 1905 Russia.
Again, so this is in Yiddish. Drew, did you know Yiddish before taking on this role?
I had the privilege to sing a Yiddish song before my audition. Besides that, I never knew Yiddish.
Wow.
It was not brought up in my family, but it was something that they taught us very well at the National Yiddish Theater Folksbiene, which has been a privilege to learn the language.
And one thing they do is that you don't just learn phonetically, they really teach you what you're saying. And, it's great for the audience because there are the English super titles that you can follow along with. But yes, they do a great job of teaching us word for word what we're saying. So, because sometimes the sentence structure is different, so you're thinking in a different order.
Right. Intonation is also important, right, in Yiddish. Why do you think it feels so relevant right now, particularly because it's set in Ukraine, right? And
yes.
We have this ongoing war in Ukraine. Is it resonating with your audiences, you think, in a different way?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I think that the stakes are much higher this time around. You think about, especially even for our character storylines of these husbands and wives and couples that are being separated while the men stay out to fight and women are leaving. But these people are being forced to leave their homes, their families, everything that they know and love, and have to start a new life. And that's happening right now as we speak. So it really it hits home in a much different way than it did even in 2018, and it was still relevant then.
As we've been reporting, there's been a concerning rise in anti-Semitism. How's the cast and community dealing with that?
Well, I think that according to the Anti-Defamation League, anti-Semitic instances, even in just the past year, as of April, have increased by 35%. And I think it's just so important that when anti-Semitic comments are made, it doesn't matter whether your politics are right or left or somewhere in the middle, that they're called out and condemned as wrong and harmful, because it's when things that aren't called out that's when instances like what happens in our play and other terrible things happen.
So true, so true. I mean, this is really like one of the last of the old school musicals, right? But
yes.
Really old school. I think we did this production when I was in high school. But
it's a popular one for sure.
I did. Who did I play? That's funny, girl. Let me ask you this. Me being a member of the class, but let me ask you that it's really about relying on tradition, right? In the face of change
yes.
and turbulence
yes.
and all that. That's a theme that everybody can relate to.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I think especially after this past Thanksgiving, we all can understand how some families hold on to the traditions, and then some of the younger ones will fight against it. And that type of push and pull can be sometimes some tension, but that's just what life is, and that's shown through the traditions in Fiddler.
And also in the family, there's so much love in this family that, even though that, Tavia's daughters might, start to break away from the traditions, that you know, having to grapple with that love and reconciling that as well.
Yeah, because without tradition, love is as shaky as a fiddler on the roof, right? Is that the line?
Yes, it's absolutely true. Yes.
There it is.
Yes.
Now we're looking at the way you two look at each other, so much love in your eyes, and
yes.
That is thanks to the show. Is that right? You're married.
Yes, it is. We are married. We got married June 27th of this past year.
In 2022. But the show was a big part of that happening. We technically knew each other from a common friend 2 years before at a birthday party we met. But then once I started getting into the show, because I came to the show a little bit late compared to Steph, and I needed some help with my Yiddish, and she was willing to help me.
And I have to say, I didn't recognize him when he came into his audition because he had a beard.
So 2 years before in that party, I was shaven. I'm always usually shaven, and so when she saw me with a beard, she didn't recognize me, but I recognized her. And she was very kind in the audition. It made me feel very welcome. And from the very beginning, I just knew I could trust her. And I needed her help with the Yiddish, and we met up. And through these little teaching meetups, we developed these kind of bigger than friendship feelings.
We did.
And slowly but surely, it just kind of fell into place very naturally.
Very naturally. And we fell in love, you know, as we you know, were in the
And it's
show.
so fun to do the show when you're, especially in the very beginning of that love, kind of discovering it through the characters, through their journey and eventually proposal. So that was really a cool moment, because I did propose to her the night before Friday's show back in 2018, September 20th, and getting to that moment in the show where I actually say, before I leave, I need to ask you one question. What about marriage?
It was a pretty magical show.
It felt like I was reliving. I was going through like an outer body experience on stage, and even to this day, doing the show, I love, my favorite moment is in the marriage. I ask her to dance in front of everyone, and we all know she's going to say, "Okay, join me." But it's that moment of like, let's just go on the DJ and have fun. You know, like let's relive our own marriage.
Well, we appreciate you sharing your story and your talent with us this morning. Thank you so much for coming on.
And Mazel Tov.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much. Good on.
And a wonderful day and wonderful weekend.
Cheers. And you can catch Fiddler on the Roof in Yiddish now through January 1st at the New World Stages in Midtown. We'll be right back. You're watching Weekend Today, New York.